I think that might be a lot of things. So people across different sectors of society might think about what they do, how they can make reasonable adjustments for that individual. Think about person-centered approaches. So rather than just one size fits all of the time, thinking about what they can do to be flexible. So that starts with education, meeting the needs of that learner, the way that that learner learns. It could be making changes to the classroom so that the classroom environment supports that learner better. Later on, when they go to university, helping them to decide on what courses that they might want to study, what support that they might need in order to go to university and live away from home. Again, the environment, so where that learning happens and how they can access that learning. So it might be that learners enjoy being in other classrooms or lecture theatres, but it might be that they prefer to have the opportunity to learn at a distance or to have more flexibility. And then after education, there should be hopefully some transition planning to think about their career opportunities as well as housing, so how they can live more independently away from home. Preparing them for that so that they know how to look after themselves on a day-to-day basis, to do their own shopping, their own cleaning. It could be that adults want to have relationships with other adults and they might need to be supported to do that as well, so that they can, I suppose, live as independently, as fully as they should be able to do. And very often, that is actually a challenge, and it's up to parents then to teach them these things. And sometimes parents are not the best people to do that, or they find it difficult to do that. I think there's sometimes some inequalities as well with other things like healthcare. So we sometimes forget that autistic people might have complex health needs as well, but they might find it very difficult to go to the GP or to go to the dentist or to keep those appointments and to plan those appointments. So yeah, there's a lot of things that are needed to help that person to reach their potential, I would say, but flexibility and being able to meet that individual's needs are key. I think there are lots there. We tend to think that we can provide a service that will meet everyone's needs, and inclusion is really important. But it shouldn't be inclusion for inclusion's sake. I think if we are committed to including people, then we need to be able to make the reasonable adjustments that are needed to be able to do that properly. So I think the barrier is often education, and education not happening, children not being able to go to school 8 o'clock till 3 o'clock or whatever that day looks like, Monday to Friday. But nevertheless, it shouldn't be, well, it's this or it's nothing, and very often it is. So children, school refuse, so they stop wanting to go to school. We've got high rates of exclusion for children with autism and special needs in the UK. So they're not getting the education that they deserve right from the beginning. The other barriers are we offer very little support around that child as well. So it's things like going to secondary school and preparing them for that change, puberty, preparing them for the physical, psychological changes, emotional changes that happen. And then later on, there doesn't seem to be enough opportunities to do or try work-based learning opportunities, access to appropriate work experience. Often that's not accessible for autistic children. And then at university, whilst I think universities can be very good at accommodating children that are autistic or young people that are autistic, sometimes actually preparing them for that is really difficult. So making sure that when they go to university, they can cook for themselves, they can do the shopping, they can also access education. Yes, it can be a challenge. And then later on, there doesn't seem to be enough employment opportunities for autistic people. Our recruitment processes tend to be the same for everyone. So, the job advert might say things like, we want someone with communication skills or organisational skills, when really that's not true. So we put people off, I think. Autistic people find it difficult to find the right opportunities for them. And sometimes they don't know what to do. For them, they don't know what it is that they want to do. And so really they should have the opportunity to perhaps try different things to see what is going to work for them. And again, flexible working practices. So once they have got a job, sometimes it's hard for them to stay in that job because we expect them to turn up to work Monday to Friday, 9 to 5, like everybody else. We expect them to perhaps to work as part of a team. That might be a challenge. Work in different environments might be more difficult. So there's lots. And appropriate housing, if you go on to that as well. Sometimes autistic people need support, but they can live independently with support. But it seems to be that either you are, someone that needs care, or you're someone that lives at home with your parents for a long time, and that I think needs to be thought about better as well. I think education is key, really, and it should be a bit more than just classroom education. I think children need an opportunity to experience and explore the world. If we did that at primary school, for instance, so if they were allowed to go to different environments, to understand things about the environment as well, get out and about and be able to put that education into context and experience things more. Because I think very often we teach things like maths, we teach them English, we teach them science, very verbally and using books. And actually for autistic children, sometimes that can be really difficult because they're not able to put that into context. And the other challenge is transferring skills out of the classroom into the real world, into life. And I think that needs to be thought about better. So primary and secondary education needs to be much more experiential and much more flexible. And I think that might then better prepare autistic children for adulthood. Oh, absolutely, yeah. I think it takes a village to raise a child, as they say. So, actually having the whole community aware of autism, valuing difference, understanding and accepting individuals and their needs and not seeing it as being a hindrance or a burden, but actually that's just, something that we do. We change the way that we are to meet everyone's needs. So I think that starts at school, but often then it's access to other after-school clubs, sports activities. The community as a whole could play a massive part, in helping that child reach their potential. I think employers miss out on lots of talent, skills and knowledge that exist in the autistic community because they're not making their recruitment accessible properly. So right at the beginning, people are not applying for jobs, or the idea of going to an interview with an employer is just too much, and they find that very difficult. I think employers, once they employ autistic young people or adults, they also need to think about the reasonable adjustments that need to be made, not just to the environment, although that is important, but also to the actual communication processes that take place as well. So from a management point of view, how they prepare that employee to do their job, so induction, but also how they provide feedback on performance, how they meet, how they set targets and goals, how they explain those targets and goals, how they can support someone so that they've got more flexibility perhaps in their working life. All of that I would recommend thinking about, and the value to the organisation could be huge. Autistic people are very loyal, they're often very knowledgeable, they have expertise, and all of that we miss out because we just expect everyone to do the same thing, and I think that's a shame, yes.